This is Jared from Commit Quality, and today we're going to discuss how to use tests inside Postman that will test out API requests are working as we expect. So instead of having to manually check each response, we can do this via tests in Postman. So if you've been following along, you should already have the JSON placeholder collection and we have this post. What I'm going to do, I'm actually going to duplicate this one so we're not repeating ourselves, and I'm going to rename this to test example. And let's just check what we post in. So tell you what, I'm only going to pass through one option to make this test as simple as possible and not confuse anything in here. So let's just send that first of all. And what we can see is we have the status of 201, which means created, and we've got some body information returned in the response. We might want to say, well, we want to check that this had a response code of 201 as created, or even say 200. And we could go in further and say we want to check, let's say the response contains the title that we entered of commit quality. And that's something we can do. If we go to the test tab, in here, we're able to write JavaScript that's going to create tests for us. And one useful thing to see here is the snippet side. So over to the snippets, it gives us a bunch of really useful code snippets that we can do to check things like status codes or get a variable, how to create a variable. There's so many things. So tell you what, in this case, we'll say status code is 200, but we know it's actually 201. So all I've done there is I've gone to snippets, clicked on whatever I think I needed, and it's already generated this test for us. Let's break this down a little bit. So a test in Postman will always start with pm.test. Test just being a JavaScript function, and as you can see, the function is going to take two parameters. First parameter is the test name, so that's whatever you want to call it. In this case, ours will be status code is status code is not 200, but it's 201 because I changed it to 201. Second parameter is we need to provide a callback function, which then includes the test code, or in this case, it's just the test assertion, which is expecting the response to have status of 201. You can see this here, which is the callback function we created. However, you might also see it looking a little bit different where we using an arrow function. So you might see it both ways. Does exactly the same thing, but it's a different way of doing callback function. I tend to stick this way, but you might see it like this or as function. So I'm going to do that. So that's the parameters being passed through. And then inside the squiggly brackets, you've actually got the body of the test code. In this case, Postman can make use of the chai assertion library, which is what we basically going to do in the next test. So inside the squiggly brackets is what we want our code to be. In this case, it's assertions. In this case, we've said expect the response to have status of 200. So let's click send on this, and you can see all is working good. Test results 1 out of 1 and passed. Fantastic. So you can click on this and have a look at that. Let's say 200 instead. Hit send. What you can see here is immediately marked up test results 0, 1, and it's a fail. And it said here, pretty simple, that we expected to have status code of 200, but ended up getting 201. Now, another thing that Postman actually can do is it can make use of the chai assertion library, which is what I'm going to show you now then. So instead of having this assertion code, which we'll just comment out for now so you can still have a look at it, I'm actually going to say pm.expect. And if you've used kind of JavaScript and the chai assertion library, this is going to make a lot more sense to you as well. I'm going to say pm.response. And I will even say code, so response code. And then I can say dot to be one of, and tell you what, we'll even just say, one of, and we'll pass through what we expect. So we could actually say, I don't care if it's a 200 status or 201, we want to pass it if either of these two codes come through. So if I hit send on this, we've just done the same thing where we're saying status code is 201 because we're saying it can be one of these. So that's just a simple example of how we can use snippets to create a test and how we can check the response code. So now let's try and write this on our own without snippets. And like I say, we'll expect that the response body to have a title of commit quality. Let's do that. Let's say inside here, pm.test, so we're creating the test. We're going to add the test declaration. So in this one, it's going to say assert title. I think that makes sense. We'll have the callback function created in here. And then inside here, we're going to say what we want it to do. So this is a little bit different. I could go through here, through snippets, and have a look at what I want to grab. So there will be a response body one in here. There we are. Response body contains strings. You can already see inside here we've got response text to include. But we don't want that yet. What I want to say is const res. So I'm setting a variable, and res is just meaning response, which is what we get from here. And we're going to say PM, so postman dot response dot JSON. So we're going to convert the response into this variable, and we get the JSON values that return. So in this case, it's going to be all of this. I could actually say here console.log res. Let's hit send on this. We want to go down to the console. Well, let's clear it and hit send again. And what you can see is we've just outputted this res variable here, which contains title, JSON of title commit quality, body subscribe, user ID 1 and ID 101, which exactly matches what we have here. So just showing how we can kind of output this. Now, we just want to assert the value, right? So we can say, like we did at the top, PM expect, which is going to use the chai assertions, and we're going to say res.title, and we're using dot notation here to say res is the variable we have, and dot title is one of the properties inside this JSON, and we can say dot to equal, and it'd be this value of commit quality, which is a string, so don't forget to set the string. Now, if we hit send on this, let's go here. You can see test results 2 are passed, and you can see all that is good. If I say commit qualities and hit send, you can see in this one it failed because we obviously have the S on the end. So let's fix that and hit send. All is good, and we've still got that console kind of logging out what we want to do. Now, a bit of bonus information is we use dot notation here to say res.title, and typically that's the best way to do it. However, you may have seen from kind of my previous Playwright videos or Cypress videos or anything, there are cases where you might need to use the kind of square brackets as well to specify what you want the title to be. So if there was spaces in this, you're going to use this option, which is exactly the same as dot notation. However, it's able to add spaces. So if I hit send on this, you'll see everything still works as expected. It's still bringing back the title of commit quality. It's just a different way of doing this. So just to recap then, we've shown how we can create some simple tests, how the snippets section of Postman for the test can be extremely useful as well, and how now we can have confidence in what's being returned to us just by adding these tests and checking results, instead of having to always manually go and look through the body. Now, just a sneak peek into the next video, we're going to show how we can use variables in tests, and that's going to really kind of expand how you can kind of build tests based off different requests and everything else. As always, a like and subscribe is appreciated. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.